Hello, hello. I am here. Welcome to Teacher Tuesday. I'm so excited for everybody to be here. If you are, make sure you are tuning in. Share this video with all your teacher friends. I am Taji, the teacher's teacher, and I am excited. I am so excited to be here with you on Teacher Tuesday. We have so much to dig into, and I want to give people a chance to just jump in the chat, jump in. I want to make sure that we are live on all of our platforms. I'm going to double check to see what Facebook is looking like. I see I am live on LinkedIn. Okay, so that's exciting. And I just kind of added just a little bit ambiance. I changed my background a little bit. I am in our kid mystery corner, aka where the kids hang out. So just, you know what? Just come on in. Come on in. Share this video with all your teacher friends. We have so much to learn today because today we are reclaiming, yes, our classroom engagement. That's what we're doing. We are reclaiming the classroom engagement. Okay. What you're not going to do is take it away from us. That's what Auntie did. Auntie Maxine Waters, she was reclaiming her time. And today I'm going to give you some strategies, some gems that's going to help you reclaim your spot, reclaim the energy in the classroom. So come on in. I'm super excited to have you guys in this party. And I cannot wait. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to share all of the gems that I plan to share with you tonight. So, again, I am Taji, the teacher's teacher. And what I do is that I help teachers. I teach teachers. Somebody asked me the other day, what do you do? And I told them, I said, I teach teachers. I help teachers to confidently convert that complex content into clear and concise concepts, right? If you have the confidence, if you know what you're doing and you're walking into that room, trust and believe those kids are going to respond. And if you are prepared to the T, honey, they can't mess with you. They can't mess with you. So we're going to reclaim our classroom engagement tonight. And I have all the gems to share with you. And I'm super excited about that. Super, super excited. So come on in, make sure you share. I have heard so many great things. Last week, we had a teacher in the building from the Bahamas. So we had a teacher here listening to us from the Bahamas and learning so much and really taking in those gems and making sure that she is able to reset her classroom. And it's never too late. It's never too late to reset. Okay. Sometimes it's just one of those opportunities where you just see a problem, you reset, pivot, and make an adjustment. Period. That's how it works. Okay. So again, I'm Taji. I'm super excited to have you in the classroom, and I cannot wait to share with you all the amazing things that I want to share. So I'm going to get started because y'all, I'm so excited. And I want you to truly take in all the things that we have available to you. And so what you're going to need for tonight, yes, you have materials. Okay, we got to be prepared, but it's okay. I try to keep it light. I try to keep it to where we can learn, we can grow, and we can laugh. All right, so not uptight. I'm just that back pocket gem for you so you can go into that classroom and shine. That's the goal. I want to see you win. I want to see you win. Okay, so tonight, if you don't have it already, last week, those of you who came last week, I provided a reset before you quit guide. It is a free guide that you are able to access. Here, let me go ahead and give you the information in case you want to pull it up. So here is, if you go to our kitmystery.com/teacher talk, you'll be able to go to the website and download the free guide. All I ask is for an email so I can keep you in the loop of all the amazing things we're doing here at Kid Mystery. What do we do at Kid Mystery? That's a great question. We unlock the science behind learning for all kids. And what do I mean by that? We help teachers to transform the wait, what? Confusing moments into aha breakthroughs in their lessons. And so this is that time where we break down some of those best practices, some of those gems, all the things that's going to help you win through our weekly teacher talk. And then we also have our Smart Spark, which is going to launch very shortly if you want that ongoing teacher support throughout the school year. And so that's what we do here at Kid Mystery. And I'm in my Kid Mystery corner. This is where my kids come all the time and play. So great energy. Okay, so again, you're going to need this reset guide because everything that I'm talking about tonight, I do have that available to you in the particular guide. All right, and so I am going to share my screen in just a moment because I got a few things that I need to share with you. Okay, I just got a few things that we're going to get going and share with you. Okay. All right. And so let's go. I'm going to start from the top. Okay. Y'all seen all the business. It's okay. It's all good. All right. So here we are. So again, we are reclaiming our student engagement. I am Taji, the teacher's teacher. And this is your opportunity to reset before you quit. Before you put your name on that pink slip on the dotted line, this is your opportunity to reclaim your student engagement. All right. And so we are in week 2. The first week, we really had the opportunity to talk about what does reset look like and what are some strategies in which that's going to help you have an adequate reset experience in your classroom. And this week, we're going to reclaim our classroom engagement. So again, I'm Taji, the teacher's teacher. I am the founder and principal consultant of Kid Mystery, where we are unlocking the science behind learning for all kids. And how do we do that? We empower teachers. We help teachers to transform the wait, what? Into aha breakthroughs for kids, okay? Because we know if the teachers are prepared, our children will excel. We already understand that. So we're here to support you. Now, the question is, what is engagement? Can you guys see me? Just want to make sure we're good. What does engagement look like? Okay. So what does it look like? For a lot of classrooms, you always got that one student that's always raising their hand. And it's like, okay, precious, Pookie, dear, sweetheart, I see your hand, but let me get to the person behind you. Now let's pay attention to the kids behind her. You got one boy, mocking her and kind of low-key, trying to talk about her because she's always so eager to share her knowledge. But what about the engagement with the other kids in the room? We got somebody looking at their cell phone. We got somebody playing like they paying attention, and you don't know what the kids are thinking. You don't know what they're learning. You only know that it's that one young lady in the room that knows the answer. Okay. What about this? Yes, engagement. Okay, you got that. Everybody knows that one teacher that feel like they have to get up and perform and dance and do all the jigging and the dugging and all the things to keep the kids engaged, right? But does that represent or reflect your personality? That may not necessarily be your personality to jig with the kids all the time, okay? But sometimes that can be what engagement could look like in a classroom. Oh boy, everybody know about this teacher. I mean, they always cracking the whip. Can I say that? I don't know. But anywho, they're super serious. The kids are like turning the pages as soon as they prompt them to do so. All the desks are in the same line. Everybody is on task, and I'm watching you until you do what you're supposed to do. And it can come off as a little authoritative, right? It can come off as if you don't trust the kids to try to do the right thing. Now, it's great, but what does the culture look like when you have a classroom that looks like this, right? I don't know. And then you have that other part of engagement where you just have people working. Kids are quiet and working, and everybody in the room is on task. That's great. Everybody in the room is on task, and they're flipping through a book. But one of my wonderings are, what are they learning? You know they are learning. Are they collaborating with one another? Are they just getting in where they fit in? Are they just being compliant? Are they having a good time? Because I like to have a good time. I like to create a whole vibe in the classroom, right? So that might be what engagement looked like, right? For some people. Well, let's see. Y'all go ahead and tell me in the chat. And real quick, I just want to see, what does engagement look like for you? Let me see what you're saying. What does engagement look like for you in the classroom? Because there's a variation of classroom engagement. And I'm going to adjust my body real quick. Yeah, because I'll tell you, in my classroom engagement, I wanted to hear the kids talking. I wanted to hear them collaborating. I wanted to do all the things, right? I wanted to see what they were bringing to the table, okay? Now, I'm going to be a little vulnerable, and I'm going to share with you a real story in what I was experiencing as a classroom teacher, especially my first year teaching. And one of the most profound days that I would never forget is the infamous broom story. Okay. One day, I was a brand new teacher. I had just moved up to the 8th grade floor, and I literally had a class that had a variation of needs. I had students who were learning how to speak the language, they were emerging bilinguals. I had kids who were on the spectrum. I had a few honor students. I had a few students who were super bright, but they barely showed up. I had a really very varied group of kids that I taught every Monday, first period. Okay. My first period was off the chain. I'm telling you, whew, I can write a novel about that first period. I really can. And so this particular morning, I had my principal was coming in. I'm in Texas, so TEA was definitely coming in to check the level of my instruction. So I went and I printed up all the things. I had my PowerPoint slide going. I was ready to go. And then my teacher coach, TEA, my assistant principal, the principal, and other teachers walked into my room as a first year teacher. Yes, because I was in a tested subject and we were in a turnaround school. And in that moment, I had one scholar who truly, I felt like I didn't have the capacity to support. All right. I felt as if that particular scholar, I did not know what to do because he was on a first or second grade reading level. Okay. And I had to print out other papers, like a coloring sheet that was aligned to the lesson in order to keep him engaged. Well, this particular day, instead of him, working on the color sheets or whatever resources, because again, I'm a first year teacher, so I didn't know what to do, right? I was just on teacher pay teachers trying to figure it out. He got the broom out of the corner of the classroom right in the middle of the lesson. And while all 1,800, it felt like 1,800 people were in my room watching me. But while they were in that room, he decided to start sweeping across the front of the classroom, right in front of me. I mean, literally got the broom and began to sweep as if nothing was happening. And I'm sitting here like, okay, how do I address this? Do I continue to teach? What do I need to do? And I was so lost. And at that particular day, I had just lost it. I said, you know what? I don't know what to do. I can't believe it. These kids are laughing. He's sweeping. He don't see a problem with it. And I got 1,500 people in my classroom observing me, trying to see what am I teaching the kids every single day. The infamous broom story. So I know I am not alone. And I know that you probably have some horror stories as well in the classroom as it pertains to how do you address some of the engagement challenges and how do you keep your kids on task and what structures do you put in place to ensure that some of those things, the broom story, doesn't happen to you. It was out of my control. I didn't know what to do. All I could do was respond, right? So I just want you to understand that you're not alone on this journey. And I can laugh about it today. But that particular day, I definitely cried. Like literally in the corner. I cried on my planning period. I had to go home because I just didn't know what to do. It was crazy. right? I was so embarrassed. But moving forward, I just want you to understand, number one, I got you. I got some resources for you. And you can take my broom story and you can put it in your back pocket and know that you're not alone. Number two, if you stay here, I will give you a giveaway. I will give you something that's going to help you and something that you can implement tomorrow if you choose, right? Because I'm here to support you. And in addition to that, we need to define, what does student engagement look like? Well, according to Fredericks, Bloomfield, and Paris, student engagement is the extent to which students are behaviorally, emotionally, and cognitively involved in their learning and school environment. Okay, how are you engaging your kids behaviorally, emotionally, and cognitively, right? How are we making that happen? So let's go here. In terms of behavior, what does that look like? Okay, what are the kids doing in that engagement, right? Are they following the routines and the expectations? What about emotional engagement? Is how are the students feeling in that classroom space? Are they connected to the content in some kind of way? Are they connected to you? Are they connected to each other in that learning space? And then three, cognitive engagement. Is learning truly happening? Are they owning their learning? Not just sitting there flipping through worksheets, but are they owning it, conversing about it, and applying it on a higher level of thinking? All right. So that's how we define student engagement. Now I'm going to give you a few highlights and I'm going to address tonight. One of the highlights I'm going to address is the first 10 minutes. I know we talked about it briefly last week, but today I'm going to model it for you. The do now that sparks their thinking, everything that happens in the first 10 minutes. We're also going to talk about what type of student choice, in order to give them engagement or to reclaim your classroom engagement, students have to feel like they're a part of that learning environment, and you give them a sense of a choice. All right, what are two aligned options? Not just, oh, you can choose to go over here and go. If it doesn't align with what's going on or the direction in which you're going to teach in and the flow of the lesson, then it's not a choice, right? So I'm going to teach you how to create two aligned options in terms of the choice. Also, check-ins without tech, okay? So I'm going to show you one tonight, and the one I'm going to show you is going to be the infamous whiteboard, okay? I love the whiteboard, y'all. I'm telling you, from a first-year teacher to a veteran in the game, the whiteboard has been a go-to for me in my classroom. It is a pretty much with a tech-less way of still holding kids accountable to the learning. So I'm going to give you, what does that look like? I was that person out now. I'm telling you, I was that teacher that always in the PLC space, I always had to ask my evaluator, and I wasn't trying to be funny or snarky or anything like that, but I will always ask them, okay, so what would that look like? Can you model that for me? Is there someone in the building who is an exemplar that I can go to and see how they are implementing this in their classroom? Yes, that was me. I was that person. What does that look like, right? So I'm giving you that right here. I'm giving you that safe space here at our teacher talk. So you don't have to be perceived as if you're being facetious or snarky or anything like that, or challenging. I'm that person that can model it for you. And so that's what we're going to do tonight. Okay. All right. Perfect. So now let's talk about what is happening in the first 10 minutes, right? We're trying to reclaim our engagement. We want the kids to be accountable the entire time, from the moment they enter into the classroom until the moment they leave, right? And it all happens in the first 10 minutes. If your first 10 minutes is foolishness, you're going to have a foolish class. It's going to be all over the place. It's going to be a hot mess. So it starts with your entry procedure. Okay. How are they entering to the room? It also starts with a slide that's very detailed with images and a timer with expectations of what they are expected to do, right? And then lastly, it's important for them to have matching handouts, right? And so one of the things that I used to do is that I was very clear about the expectation. And I knew that my classroom was very regimented because I only have 45 minutes. So you got to come in, get it done, and move around, right? Master, it's time to master this. We don't have a lot of time. We're not playing. Let's go. That was the type of energy I had in my classroom. So I had to provide some type of personal touch so that my kids didn't feel uptight and militant, in that space. So my entry routine is the time of the day that I played a song. I always have my speaker with me. I was always playing music because what does music do? It lightens the mood. All right. It has everybody in the groove. People are happy when they listen to music, right? And if my class was very vibrant and they always came in with big energy, I made sure that the song choice was something of that was maybe melodic or jazz or something of that nature. So I wouldn't take a class that has a 10 personality to 20, right? But I will always have some type of music because what does music do? It helped me reset from the previous class period, which could have been amazing or it could have been a hot mess. And I'm trying to reset my attitude so that I don't bring over that energy that I had experienced in the previous class to the new class. So a new song always made it to be a great reset opportunity. During that time, when they would listen to the music, we walked in at a voice level 0. You get what you need, which is to do now, a copy of that. And then they also had to pick up their journal or something like that, be in their seats within 15 seconds, and they are working on the Smart Start on the board. Okay. Once they are working on the Smart Start, I'm walking around. I have a clipboard. I didn't play with them. I kept my clipboard. I had my Smart Spark or Smart Start. And then I was checking off. I was taking my attendance. I was checking off to see who was on task and who wasn't. And I was holding them accountable in a non-verbal way, in a non-confrontational way, and making sure that they understood that I was holding them to the mark. Right? I even gave them a little check if you're on task, check plus if you are exceeding my expectations, or a check minus if you need to get yourself together. And you have an opportunity to change that check minus, right, to a check plus if you adjust your behavior or you reset your focus. So I always gave them a chance to meet the expectation. However, I always inspected what I expected. And I learned that from one of my close friends now who was one of my principals. You always have to inspect what you expect. If the kids are coming in and they get started on the do now, but the timer is not flowing, the PowerPoint slide is not up or prepared, or if you're sitting behind your desk, that non-verbally communicates to the scholars that they can't take you serious. So you have to make sure that you're prepared, have these things in play, and inspect what you expect. Okay, what y'all think about that? What you think? Okay, I hope I'm preaching. I hope I'm helping you. I hope I am enlightening you to an opportunity to reset your first 10 minutes. Okay. One of the things that I've learned from an OG is that I printed 2 to a page. And so that's what you see here in this area is that this is just the exact slide or whatever question it is. I just printed 2 to a page to save paper, cut that in half. And I always made sure that that was available and ready to go. The days in which I did not have that at the opening table, are the days that my days started chaotic. Okay. So it held me accountable, in addition to it also holds the students accountable as well. All right. I hope that's helpful to you, but that's just how I started off my first 10 minutes. And I think this is a great start to your reset, all right, of reclaiming your classroom engagement. Another way is that providing student choice. Remember, we talked about student choice. And so this is an example. I'm a science teacher by trade. You get it, right? Science teacher. Okay. I hope it's all coming together, making those connections. But yes, I am a science teacher by trade. And so I want you to understand that I see on Teacher Pay Teacher, and nothing wrong with this, but I see on best practice teacher YouTubes and things of that nature, they're always giving you this very flamboyant way of giving kids a choice. You may have like a choice sheet or a tic-tac-toe board or all of those different things, but sometimes you just don't have time for that, right? But you still want to implement student choice in your classroom. And a great way to implement a student choice is to always know, where are you going in this lesson? Additionally, you also need to know, how much time do you have to implement this choice, so you won't use a lot of time playing around with this choice. And I kind of just channel my mom a little bit in this moment. It's either, okay, you're going to take a shower or you're going to take a bath. But the common goal is that you're going to bathe, right? And so that's the approach that you need to have here, is that you need to know which direction you want the kids to go, what you want them to achieve, and just give them an easy choice, and that would still meet the goal. So in this case, I give everybody this diagram. They still have to analyze the diagram. That's the goal. I want them to be able to understand how to read this diagram. I also want them to differentiate what is the difference between an herbivore, a carnivore, or omnivore. I also want them to let me know which one of these organisms is a producer. I want to know if they know that. So the choice is either circle the herbivores that compete for the same producer, or the second choice, they can list out to the right the herbivores that compete for the same producer. And it's super easy. But small steps like this give kids the buy-in that they own their learning, that they feel empowered about their learning, and that you really care about what options they have. This is just an easy way, something you can implement tomorrow if you want to. You can implement it tomorrow. So student choice, that's one easy way to do so. Now, I want my kids, now that they have their choice, this is the real task. Everyone is expected to write a short constructive response using this diagram in 3 complete sentences. Now, that is the expectation. The first, I wanted to see if they knew their vocabulary and if they can read a diagram. The second, I now need you to apply what you have learned or what you have identified. And now it is time to write in a complete sentence, right? In 3 complete sentences. This is the ultimate goal. This is the skill. I grew them from a low-level choice to a high level of applying the information. And now we are getting to where we want our kids to be. You can apply it tomorrow. You can use it using a STEM or a question STEM that already exists. Period. Let's go to the next. Another way to reclaim engagement. Let's say internet is out, because it happened to me before. Let's say you don't have enough laptops in the room, okay? And so you still need to know whether or not your kids are learning and they are processing. So you can implement the whiteboard. Now I'm curious, are you guys interested in me showing you how to implement the whiteboard, like the resources and things of that nature, like teacher moves? I'm just curious to see if that's something you may be interested in, because I can actually model how I would implement this particular question. Let's see what I have in the chat. I've been talking for a minute. Y'all are more than welcome to put something in the chat. Let me know if you hear. If you have any questions, put any questions in the chat. I'm gonna go and check my Facebook real quick. Do y'all hear me? Do you hear me? Let me see. Okay. All right. So again, I don't have any questions quite yet, but it's okay. If you don't have any questions, it is okay. You can DM me a question. I'm cool with that. But I'm going to model it real quick just in case you just want to implement it. So the way that I implement whiteboards is just extremely hilarious. So I'm going to, y'all, sometimes you just got to make learning fun. And so sometimes when the kids see that you don't really take yourself that seriously, it just calms the anxiety down and it creates that safe space. And so, all right, here go my whiteboard. So with the whiteboards, I always give the expectations. So I have a slide that has expectations on the whiteboard. You keep it face down until you see the question. Keep your whiteboard face down until you see the question. Once I show you the question, you will have 1 minute to read silently. Once you have read the question, then you will have the remainder of the time to write your answer on the whiteboard. Okay? Once you have your answer, do it face down on your board, on your desk. Okay? And then I explain to the kids, this is why it's important for you to do it face down, because I want to make sure that everybody in the classroom is on the same page. And you don't have to worry about who is to your left or who is to your right. I just want to make sure that you understand this concept. And if you don't, it is okay. I got you, because you're not going to show your answers to your neighbor. You're only going to show the answer to me when I say the magic word. So do not show your answer on this whiteboard until you hear the magic words. And the magic words are pop, 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 pop it, pop it, pop it. That's the only time you show me your answers. And y'all taught middle school, like 8th graders. Nobody was too cool for popping. Everybody was popping it. I mean, popping it, not it, but popping it in the classroom. So again, I had those very clear expectations. Again, whiteboards are face down until you see the question. Once you see the question, you have 1 minute to silently, at a voice level 0, to read the question. Once you read the question, you're writing your answers on the board, okay? Once you write your answers, it can be in a complete sentence. That was one of the expectations. You can give them more time and say, I need to see your rationale. I need you to circle key vocabulary terms. All of the things. You can put whatever expectations out there. But once you have your answer, it is face down at all times until I say the magic word. And the magic words are pop it. And they only turn the board toward me. And I was able to see what everyone was thinking at that time. Okay. And I looked at it, I gauged it. That was my data in real time. If I need to reteach something, I addressed it. If I had 90%, I don't stay there. I move on to the next. And that's what I love about a low-tech whiteboard, okay? It doesn't have to be that complicated. I think we overcomplicate things, but it doesn't have to be complicated. The only way that strategy works, I'm going to show you. You have to pre-plan all of your questions. Make sure that your questions are on the PowerPoint slide of what you want to ask the kids. You need to pre-plan your questions out, okay? That's the only way that you make sure that your data is correct and that your processes are clear. I also add onto the slide the material they need, whiteboard. I also make sure that there is a timer because it creates a sense of urgency. And I restamp the voice level, which is a 0. So again, that really helps them and keep the kids engaged. And it's just a very low tech way of implementing something. Again, something you can implement tomorrow. Okay. It doesn't have to be that complicated, but that's another way to get your engagement and to reclaim your engagement in the classroom. Okay. Now, I hope that was helpful. Just a little bit. That was just a little glimpse of how you can reset and reclaim your classroom. Okay. Bring in some fresh energy, making sure that you're able to look at your current lesson plan and make minor adjustments. And that's how you can reclaim some of your classroom management, right? Your classroom engagement. Now, I'm going to restamp it. Tonight's highlights. You can reclaim your engagement by making sure that your first 10 minutes are on point, planned, and executed. You can reclaim your classroom engagement through creating student choice that doesn't have to be super complicated. You can reclaim your classroom engagement by having some check-ins, fist to 5, which is very low tech. I personally don't do it a lot because you still don't know what the kids are thinking, but whiteboards help you know exactly how kids are thinking and they're not necessarily being judged out loud. Another way is a turn and talk, but you have to make sure that you give them the expectations of them communicating to one another, right? And if someone says the wrong answer, kids are not, condemning or, breaking down or being rude to their classmates if the answer is not what is expected, right? So everything has to have expectations connected with it. Now, last week, so many questions, right? I got so many questions. And so I wanted to make sure that I made some time to look over a few questions that I received in my DM, okay? And I want to address here. So I'm going to go over just a few questions that I've received, and hopefully this can help you in your practice, okay? So one of the questions that I received was, go back here. One of the questions that I received was, let's see. It was, one of the questions was, what should I do if my do now doesn't grab my students' attention? Okay. So that was like a real question. I thought that was really good. What if my do now doesn't grab your students' attention? Okay. So this is the thing is about a do now. A do now has to be something to where you may have already taught before. So it's kind of like a reteach opportunity. It also needs to be like a easy to grab or easy to access skill, right? So it doesn't need to be the most complex question, but it does need to be something that a student will feel confident in or familiar with it so they're able to achieve it. So if it's too high, that's probably why you don't have a lot of engagement, all right? If the question is too difficult, some students are going to look at it and give up. If the question has a lot of reading, and I know that I have a class full of scholars who are having challenges with their reading, I'm not going to put that as my do now because I know that that's not going to have a heavy turnaround or good results with it. But I will do a question that has visuals. I will make sure that if there's a chart or something that they need to use that will help them to answer the question, I will have a snippet of the periodic table of elements, giving them a clue that they need to use the periodic table in order to be successful on that question. So sometimes a question may be too challenging for that student. And so you have to provide some type of support so they can feel confident and get the job done. I hope that helps. Also, keep it consistent. So if you have your slide on Monday and tomorrow you forget, Tuesday, Wednesday you want to do a chart, Thursday you want to do. No, it needs to be the same copies, similar slide, voice level. All of that needs to be consistent for at least 3 weeks if you want a system to be clear, concise, and for the kids to adjust to the expectation. So be consistent with the expectation. Another question I thought that was really interesting. So one of them was, how do I engage students who just flat out refuse to participate? How do you engage students who flat out refuse to participate? That's a great question, and it's a real question. So when you have a student who just flat out like refuse to participate, I need you to kind of take it back. Don't take it personal. Breathe for a little bit, but follow through with the system. Every time you plan a system, you plan for the kids to participate, but you also plan as if a child is not going to participate. So this is where communication comes in. All right, sweetheart, the expectation is for you to get your do now done. You have about 3 minutes remaining and your voice level needs to be a 0. What if I don't want to do a 0? Da, da, da. Miss, I'm doing this. Okay, sweetheart, the expectation is that you're working on this do now at this time. And now you have 2 minutes and 30 seconds remaining. But what, I ain't trying to do that. Okay, cool. So if you don't want to do the do now, is there something I can help you with? No, you don't need your help. Okay, cool. If you don't need my help and you're not clear, now you are clear about the expectation, but you don't need my help. I'm just going to remind you that this do now grade is a part of your overall grade for today, and it's 30%. So if you're not completing the do now, that means that you're going to start today's class at a 66. So you're going to make the choice whether you start today's class at a 66 or you're going to regroup and start today's class at a 100. It's up to you. Put it in there. Always put it in their court. Always recenter yourself. Always lower your tone, but be very clear and direct about the expectation. I didn't talk to him about how I felt about them not wanting to participate. It don't have anything to do with me. But I did tell them what the consequence was going to be, which is a part of my system. I hope that helps, but that's very important, okay? And then another question is, what should I do when my fun activity flops? What if you do all this planning and then it doesn't work? I get it. It happens all the time, right? I get it. And so the way that you can address that is that you can definitely regroup, maybe laugh about it, reflect and say, you know what? I should have put them in groups of 2 rather than them doing it on their own. Or perhaps I should have not chosen that song because it didn't work out together. And maybe I should have prompted them a little bit by little bit instead of giving them all the instructions at once. I should have chunked the instruction. And that probably would have had a better turnout. So it's okay. It's going to fly. Don't give up. Reset, reflect, and go ahead and try it again. You got this. I believe in you. I know you can do it. I know you can. All righty. So those were a few questions. If you have it, if you catch this a little bit late, it is okay. You can DM me more questions. I love to be able to share that information with you. And I'm going to be prepared. I'm going to come with my questions and I'm going to help you as much as possible because my goal is to make sure that you are successful and you are shining through this moment, right? I'm helping you to win. I want you to win. All right. So just a reminder, if you found this useful, I have mine here. If you found this useful, make sure you go to kidmystery.com/teacher talk. And this is a free guide. Everything that I talked about today was basically from the guide. I just gave you real examples to help you implement and apply those examples, but print it out, look it over. If you have questions, feel free to DM me. I am on Facebook. I am on YouTube and LinkedIn. You can find me, or you can also contact me through our website. Okay, you can go to kitmystery.com/contact us if you want to have a one-on-one. Sometimes this doesn't really cover all the things that you would desire for to cover. And sometimes you may have a situation that's a little bit more detailed, right? And that's okay. All I want you guys to do is to go to my website, kitmystery.com/contact us, book a one-on-one call. I'm telling you, it's going to change your life, change your mind, and refresh your perspective, right? Because this is hard work, but I can help you. We can do this together, and I can be alongside you in this work to make sure that you feel equipped to make a significant impact in the lives of your kids, right? That's the goal. That's the goal, to see you shine. And don't forget to stay connected. You can follow us on Facebook at Taji, the Teacher's Teacher. I have more resources on there. You can also, we're on YouTube, Taji, the Teacher's Teacher. LinkedIn, we have Kidminstry. And I also have my personal LinkedIn page. In addition to that, I am Taji Teaches on Instagram. So if you happen to have any questions, you're more than welcome to stay connected. Reach out to us. We want to make sure that you are truly feeling empowered in your learning space. And ultimately, I cannot wait to share next week what we're going to talk about. Next week, y'all, I put it down here. I wanted to make sure I put it out there. Next week, we are talking about data. What does data look like? How can you truly use the data in a very simple way that's going to drive your instructional decisions, right? That's another way of resetting. Leading with data, leading with knowledge, leading with the information you need to know so that you can ensure that the learning is happening in the room. And I cannot wait because I love our data conversation. So don't forget to follow up with us. See us again on the next Teacher Tuesday so that you can continue to learn and grow and transform the wait, what? Into aha breakthrough for your kids. All right. So again, I'm super excited. I hope this was helpful. If you happen to catch this at the end or after we are live, just go ahead and put something in the comment section. You can still let me know that you're here. You can still comment. I'll see that, and I'll definitely show you some love. Okay. So again, thank you so much for joining us on Teacher Tuesday, and I cannot wait to see you bloom in your classroom. I'll see you next week, my lovelies. Bye.